Hi guys, just a quick video. As you can judge by the title, I was curious now that I am an owner of a Rover 45. How rare are they? Because those people who've followed me um, through my Focus Mark 1 videos will know that I'm quite cued in to basically that great website called How Many Left. Now, Mark 1 focuses are a bit of an exception because the data for Mark 1 focuses sort of crosses over into Mark 2 territory, between 2005 and 2006. And How Many Left as a website does not reflect that data. It's not their fault, it's just the data from the DVOA needs interpreting, and of course they don't do that. They just literally copy and paste the information in a more presentable fashion. I tend to do my own, but Rover 45 data is actually quite easy to get hold of. Sorry, to interpret, I should say. There is no crossover between the 45 and the 400 because they're two different names. They've got specific model numbers, specifications, etc. So it's far easier for me to actually interpret the numbers. I have copied the information onto this spreadsheet. I mean, I'm going to try and keep my hands steady, but I'll just go through it very briefly. These are the models for the Rover 45, all of them, and the year. You've got the model years, and in the section here we have how many are left on the road currently, how many are sawned currently, and these numbers here are originally how many at peak were produced according to how many left. So Rover 45 Advantage, you had 2 years, 2000 and 2001, none left in 2000 according to this, and between them, those 2 years, 560 were produced. Now there's only 22 left on the roads. That's quite a drop, and that's more of a drop than Focus Mark 1s, I can tell you. And well, basically, I'll cut to the chase now because we've got all the numbers here. This data you can extract from the DVOA statistics and data section. Basically, they collect information for the government to influence as a future policies, but that's more for electric cars and petrol take up, that sort of thing. Older cars, the data is still here and it's still updated. This table is actually just copied. I've taken all the Rover 45 information from the actual main data sheet, which is huge, as you can imagine, with the amount of cars in this country. But anyway, my car, and I'm going to bring you down to this now. Now there's two types. There was a bit of a crossover. Rover 45 Connoisseur 16 valve automatic. Now some of them were listed as CVTs, some of them automatic. This is purely down to how they registered them at the dealerships, and I found it not to be entirely accurate, but for Rover 45s it makes sense. So you have basically the pre-facelift 2000 to 2004. There's only one, so that makes sense that this is the pre-facelift car, of which there were 534, and now in total there's like 16, 22, 30, 33. Absolutely nothing. But my car is in this section, Connoisseur CVT, because that's what it says on my logbook, and it goes from 2004, 2005, and even some late registered 2006 cars, which that did happen. Not very often, but there are some 55, 06 plates. I'm sure there's 07 plates hanging around. There's some that weren't registered to 2009, just sitting in dealerships. But anyway, 264 of these were made in total, of which my car is one. My car is one of these 22. Now this data is actually about 6 months old, so the numbers could have gone down slightly. But mine is a 2004 model. These are the facelift cars. So if you think about it, 264 facelift CVTs, that's quite rare in itself. But look at the numbers that survive. 26 on the road from 2004, 19, 2. That's unbelievable. That's 47. Now I have actually had a look at this, and the data has actually gone down. On how many left, it now says 44. So 3 of these have gone from whichever column. And the Sawn is still the same, but mine will be added to this list at some point, hopefully in the next couple of months, once it is actually ready for its first MOT. So that gives you a basis that my Rover 45 is basically in a very rare bracket. I mean, if you do the mouse, actually 39, 43, 43 on that side, and 47, which we know there are not 47, there's 44 now. That is one of 87 left. 87 of that total, which is a small amount. Probably better than some models, but it gives you a sense of perspective how rare my car is. Now if I just scroll down, so we're going through quite a few of the IXLs, IXSs, impressions. There's quite a few impressions, whether it's the Ds or not, and then we've got the V6s, which are very, very rare indeed, and quite desirable, but they are a bit thirsty. But arguably, if you're buying one of them, it's more of a collector's car now, and look at it, this is a collector's car now. Now totals, the fun bit. In total, there are 3,741 on the road. There are 3,942 on Sawn. These are very, very approximate. I'd say give it 10 or 20 each way. Originally, there were just less than 70,000 registered in the UK. Now that kind of puts it in perspective. Well, I don't really want to compare it to Mondays because it was more plush than Mondays. They appealed to a completely different audience, but it kind of puts the sort of the niche factor on these cars. But basically, these are the percentages that survive. So 5.3 on the road, and 5.6% are sawned from what was originally there. There you go. Now I know for a fact that Focus Mark 1s in the UK are around 10% of what they were, but that puts it in perspective. So if you've actually got one, and you may have if you're watching this video, that is the number of basically what is left. Right, I will leave you there. Good night all.